Hello, everyone, and thank you for the invite for being here today. I'm Henry Pinchbeck, CEO of Insight Surgery. I'm calling this the headline slot, I think. First up, which is really impressive, thank you for the slot right at the start of the day on the first day, amazing. So let's talk about Insight Surgery. Insight Surgery is a personalized surgery company. That means we digitize surgical planning and automate the design of patient-specific medical devices. And before we get into kind of what that all means, I'm going to give you a little example of the impact of personalized surgery, which I see on a day-to-day basis. So personalized surgery, this example I'm going to give now is in orthopedic oncology. It's one of our largest areas we work on. And this particular example is in the upper limb, although orthopedic oncology, sarcomas affect patients all over the body, particularly complicated in the pelvis. And in this case, you can see here, this is a patient that's suffering from osteosarcoma of the wrist, and the surgeon wants to resect all that diseased bone and replace it with some healthy allograft bone. So what we do is we digitize the surgery. Lots of talk today about digital surgery. We physically digitize the surgery. We digitize the surgery, and then we design patient-specific surgical guides to attach to the patient during surgery. These are 3D printed, custom-made devices. In this particular case, we create two of them, one for the resection of the unhealthy tissue and one for the reconstruction of the wrist with the allograft bone. Now, these guides are in use, and the surgeons at the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital, who we work with very closely, are using them as their standard of care these days for these kinds of cases. And in their cases, they've found, in the cohorts, they've found using the guides, 0 positive margins. So none of the patients using guides had their sarcoma encroached upon. Less blood loss for the patient, less time in theatre, fewer complications, quicker discharge from the ICU, and quicker discharge from hospital. And those findings were published at the MSOS meeting last year. But impact actually isn't enough. Impact isn't enough for these kind of cases. What we want to see true market coverage and true scale is these devices need to have, they need to be delivered quickly. They need to be accessed by the surgeon simply, and they need to be at the right price point. At the moment, they are too expensive, they're too slow, and they can't be accessed. So what I'm going to do is take you through the pain point that we're solving in Insight Surgery, and therefore I'm going to show you the rest of the marketplace where we are. So how is personalization being adopted through the surgery pathway? So first of all, right at the start of our marketplace, we've got the big companies that do scanners, CT scanners, MRI scanners. CTs and MRIs, they're the raw material of our marketplace. And once we have that raw material, it's then segmented, and that's the word we use in our marketplace for resolving down that data into something that's usable. And the companies you can see there, Materialize and Synopsys, for example, they're working on the automation of that segmentation process. The next stage is the digitization of the surgery. That's the bit that Insight Surgery works at. This is our area of expertise. This is where our tech stack works. And then you digitize that surgery, and then during that process, we also design these patient-specific medical devices. The next stage is the translation stage. How do you translate that digital plan onto a patient? We do it with patient-specific medical devices. Other companies do it with VR and AR, navigation, robotics. You can see some of the really big companies at the bottom there getting into this, but I think that's at the end of the market, and they're kind of missing the point that in the middle of this market, there's a big black hole that needs to be filled. Without those segmentation, digital planning, the idea of getting into automated robotics is ridiculous. You can't get there. So these other processes are needed first. So once we've got there, then you can get into surgery. I'd also say at this point that these technologies are not competitor technologies. Quite often we see surgeons who want to plan digitally, then use a patient-specific device, maybe a guide, maybe an implant, but then they want to place it using surgical navigation. So that's what I think we're going to see. We're going to see the convergence of these technologies, not one or the other. Okay, So what do we do in our marketplace, and how do we do it? So what we have is a cloud-based solution that is an end-to-end platform that allows the digitization of this process and the design of these devices. So first of all, it automates. That's the thing that's needed here, automation of the digital planning, automation of all of these stages. At the moment, the marketplace is still too driven by things using as one-offs. That just does not work. We need a slick system. So our automation means that we can take these devices and deliver them in days, not in weeks, which is the current standard. Our platform's FDA cleared and ISO quality certified. The plan that we create, the digital plan, can also be viewed in AR and VR, and we've patented it, and that patent's pending registration in both the UK and the USA. We've delivered over 1,000 patient-specific devices through our Embed Med platform already. Let me just click back a little bit into this point about automation of design. So this is a real differentiator for us and also for the marketplace. Now, it's really important because each type of surgery is going to have a different type of algorithm that's needed for that digital surgery. So I've given the example here of this is a total shoulder replacement. This is a glenoid guide that we've designed and actually released. So we've patented this, but the patent covers two things. It covers the guide itself, which you can see right here, but also, importantly, it covers the process. It covers the process of picking up the data from the patient scans and then using that to determine where that guide goes and how it's determined. And that means that we can design these guides now in minutes. It used to be in hours, it used to be in days, and now we can design them in minutes. This guide has actually been released. It's now on for sale in the UK and in Europe. And we'll see this having much wider application, much wider simply than what we use it for. This could be used in automated robotics, for example, or in VR and AR. What have we done to date? Well, I'd say we've achieved an awful lot with not very much. So we've only had a little bit of investment to date, 1.8 million, and we've got a team of 12 of us working on this. In the UK, we're well established. We've got 5 facilities in the UK. We're turning over almost £1 million this year. That's because we're selling these medical devices into the marketplace. That £900 this year is an increase of about 60% from the year before. That's with the same number of engineers. We're showing that automation means you can improve your margins and use the same number of people to get the work done. And amazingly, we've finally got onto an NHS framework. And anyone who knows the NHS and knows the UK, that is a really quite a complicated thing to do. Okay, so we realize that the UK isn't the big market here. The big market is in the US. So we've opened up in the US, we've got an FDA clearance, and we've opened up a facility at the Texas Medical Center in Houston. To anyone who's not been to that facility, it's incredible. It's the largest medical facility in the world. I think there's 30 hospitals within 5-mile radius. We've got a contract with Houston Methodist, and we're selling to hospitals around the states. Next on, we want to increase our sales, get out there, appoint a team of distributors, increase our revenues, and also open some more facilities, first of all, in New York. You'll see that some of the clients we work with at the bottom there. Here's the team, me on the left. I am a lawyer, don't blame me for it. I'm an expert in medical device regulations, which underpins almost all of our marketplace. My co-founder's the technologist. He builds the platform. And then we have an amazing clinical team as well. Dr. Tom Koska, one of the most impressive surgeons in orthopedic oncology in the UK. Mr. Ian Hennessy, again, a consultant in pediatric care. A very strong non-exec team. Peter, who's the chairman of ABHI. Jackie, who's a VP of Medtronic, ex-VP of Medtronic. And our strategic director in the US, Dr. Scott Parazinski. So there is an ask. I am raising finance, so obviously I wouldn't be here otherwise. The current round is $2.5 million. We've got $1 million already committed. If you come up and speak to me afterwards, I'll let you know what the valuation is as well. With that money, we want to just increase our sales, increase our revenues. I can take this company to break even relatively quickly because we're a very cash-generative business now. So our revenues can be up to 26 million by 2027. And as you can see on the right-hand side, the use of the funds, it's all about growth. More staff, more engineers, more facilities, and also I want to get CMF custom implants into the US market as well. So that's Insight Surgery. I'd say for the investors listening, we're a highly de-risked business. We've done all the hard lifting. We've got the platform, got the FDA clearance. Come and have a chat with me because I do need to raise this finance. Okay, thanks ever so much.